My name is Frances Chalker.
And tell me about where you were living before the blizzard struck, and then we can get into the blizzard.
We lived 4 miles west and about 2 miles south of Manville.
And tell me about your living quarters.
We had only been married about 5.5 months, and we moved into this old house. It was about 3 rooms, and so we just moved into the one big room, and we had wood and some hay bales in the one room, and we had a dog, and we had dog food. So
So pretty Spartan living there at
yes,
first as
it was.
newlyweds.
Yes.
Yeah. And so then January 1st was New Year's Day, and I don't know if you recall what you did that New Year's, but January 2nd is when it hit, right?
Yes. We hadn't gone anywhere on January 1st because we were supposed to be up at Orne celebrating the brother-in-law's birthday. So we had gotten up that morning to feed the cattle, and it was cloudy, and it just started lightning and thundering, and then it started snowing while we were out feeding the cattle. So that was pretty spooky. So anyway, we decided then and there that we weren't going. So the longer we were out there, the worse it got. So we took the cattle back to the corral and
So
shut 'em.
it was thundering and lightning and
Yes.
snowing at the same time.
Yes,
That must have been really scary.
it was. And I was raised on a ranch all my life, so that was scary. And anyway, the longer the day went, the worse it got. It just snowed and blowed, and we went in the house, and of course the old windows and stuff, it whistled through the windows. It just was spooky.
And did you get accumulation of snow in your house?
I do not remember any in our house, but I don't know how.
Do you remember having problems with static electricity like Jimmy was talking about?
No, I don't. I don't remember that. I know there was static. We had an old radio, a battery radio, and we tried to get the weather on it, and of course you couldn't, and there was a lot of static, but that was different.
So you had no phone?
Oh no, you didn't have no phone, no electricity, just coal oil lamps, and yeah, we just had an oil burner, and every time it started it'd go boom. Anyway, we run out of oil right away, and we had a dog, and she had pups behind the oil burner, and of course they died. And then we had a little cook stove. It wasn't the big old comforter stoves and stuff they had, it was just a little one. And we did have wood cut in this other room, so we kept it going. And it would get so hot, I mean, it warped the top. But you didn't get warm, your feet were cold. You wore all the clothes you could put on, and when you sat around, we usually, for our wedding presents, we had about 5 wool blankets given to us and a comforter. We'd put them around us to try and keep warm. And my husband would go out probably about every 2 hours to check the cows. And we did not, at the time, have a rope or anything, so we headed toward the windmill and then toward the barn. And there was a fence about halfway through that we would follow if you'd get there. Anyway, the longer the cows were there, they'd stomp, and they'd get up higher and higher. And I'd go out with him a lot of the time, and we would knock the icicles off of their eyes and their mouth every time because they'd get too hard and too long. And one of them was our milk cow, and we tried to milk her, but of course, no feed, no water. She didn't give any milk, so we didn't try after the first time. And
So, I mean, you said no feed, no water. I mean, at what point were you able to start feeding your cattle again?
when it was over.
Wow.
And then when it was over, Edwin's dad kind of clobbered up a sled and came over and moved us out. We put the chickens in we finally got down to the chickens. This was quite a while after it was over, but we put the chickens in gunny sacks, and he had brought one bale of hay, and we coaxed the cows that way. But anyhow, going out, we tried putting boxes over our face, but that didn't work because the snow whirled up under the box, and that was worse yet. But it was so cold, it just would take your breath away. And we had a lean-to, again, an open shed next to the cow barn, and we tried putting them in there, and we cut blocks of snow to block them in, and anyhow that didn't work because it filled in around them because you couldn't cover up all the holes, so we had to get them out of there again. And anyway, when it was over, the cows were level with the top of the barn roof. We couldn't have held them another day.
Gosh. So they kind of had to come down the snowbank then to...
Yeah. And the wind would blow the snow higher than the window. I'd hang a lantern in there in case he got close or got lost, Edwin. But anyway, that snowbank would be down, and then it'd be up in a different direction. So you never knew by the snowbanks, you couldn't go by them because they would change all the time.
The landscape just kept changing on you.
Yep, yes.
That would make for getting lost a lot easier.
Yes. But we both made her back every time. I did go out with Edwin a lot, so.
So you said your dad came over to move you over to his place during the blizzard?
No, this was way after. That was my husband's dad.
Oh.
His folks lived by the highway on the north side, and they had the sheep. And like Carmen said, there was very few we saved, but you could see where there'd be a air hole up through they'd breathe through, but after a while it lasted too long. And I don't think we saved very many sheep.
And how many sheep are we talking about, roughly?
Oh, there was probably 100 head. Yeah.
And so they were kind of encased in a snow cave that they kind of like melted
Yes.
with their warm breaths.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they drift, and of course they just. Yeah.
I've heard stories about the sheep that, their legs would freeze up and they'd break their legs when they try to walk.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty bad. And then we had a hog and the milk cow calf, and they were next to this, where we had the milk barn and the open shed and then the chicken house, or that little house, the little lean-to for them. And we had oyster shell on a shelf there to feed the chickens. Anyway, they ate that, the hog and the calf. And when we did get them out of there, the hog was just like a razorback. He was skinny as all get out, but the calf lived. And we did put grain down the, whatever you call the hole in the chicken house.
You called it the stink hole.
Yeah, the stink hole. Yeah. Anyhow, when we got to them finally, there was lots of frozen eggs, but the chickens were alive, so.
What did you say you fed the calves? The pig and the calf ate shells?
It was oyster shell, what you feed chickens to make their shells, the egg shells, hard.
I see.
I don't know how they could eat that, but they did.
And the calf ate it too.
Yes, I guess.
Yeah.
They both lived anyway.
But the chickens made it, but the eggs didn't.
No,
What do you do with the frozen egg? Throw it out, I guess.
throw them out. Yeah. But I'll never forget when the train did finally come through. Of course, it was the old coal fed, and that noise they made. I mean, that was awesome to hear that finally, but that was a long time after.
After hearing nothing but the howling winds.
Yes, and you never get over that fear completely, and I hate wind to this day, especially when it blows hard, because it always reminds you of that.
And so did you make it into Lusk at all after the blizzard?
Oh no, we got to Manville finally, but
And what kind of shape was Manville in? Do you recall?
well, not too good a shape. I know we got to the grocery store. There was an older feller there named Mr. Blankenship, and everybody charged their groceries to him, but he did have a big supply of groceries. But
So he never ran. He never ran out of groceries for folks then.
as far as I know, no.
Well, that was fortunate because weren't the groceries supplied in this area by trains?
Yes. Well, yeah. You know, I never thought of that. I don't know.
I don't know if they were.
Were there some
they
of
were-
them
must have been
brought by
trucking
trucks?
too.
Probably.
But
I don't
everything
know.
was shut down though, so
Yes,
he
I
must have
know.
had a really good supply laid in.
He did. He was good about that. I know we were one of the first ones that paid off the bill. Everybody charged. And I had a third daughter then, and she was just little, and he bought her a tricycle for us paying off the bill. And that went through the rest of my kids and my oldest son's kids, so that was a good tricycle.
Wow, kind of a souvenir of the
Yeah,
storm.
right. Yeah. But
So, you know, you've been around this area for a long time, and you've been through a lot of winter storms since the blizzard of '49. Do any of them stack up?
well, in 50, the year after that, we got 30 inches of snow on the level and no wind. Now that was a different story too.
Yeah. But nothing quite like that.
No, not like until what we had the other day, the 2nd of June.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a different story.
Yes, indeed. So, were you ever really afraid during the storm that you weren't going to make it?
You know, I don't remember ever being afraid that we weren't going to make it. I think I was afraid Edwin wouldn't make it back or something. I think that was another reason I went out with him a lot. Because I was born and raised in the country, and he wasn't always, so.
Okay. Anything else that you can think of? I'm looking at my notes from last time, and you really stuck to your story.
Yeah.
So it must be true.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seemed like it lasted forever, but it finally quit.
Don't want to experience that one again.
No.
All right. I'm looking over this. Oh, you talked about washing your floor.
Oh yes, after it was over, why, here came Edwin's dad and his older brother. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to scrub my floor. So of course I had the warming oven on the stove, and I put some water in a bucket and a mop in it, and I stuck it down to mop the floor, and the mop froze to the floor. So that ended that.
I'll let him come over with a dirty floor.
Yeah. I don't think they noticed, but
I think that's, if you can't think of anything else, I don't have anything else here.
I can't remember cooking or anything like that, but must have
Yeah.
had something on the stove all the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yep,
Thanks so much, Francis.
you're welcome.
I appreciate it.